This is Therese Skelly, the Intuitive Business Mentor. And today I want to talk to you about how to hold a selling conversation in a way that makes you feel confident, shows your authority, and puts the prospective client at ease. That's a lot. So here's what I want to say. There's a big trend in selling via direct messages, right? And that's great. If that's your gig, you don't have to listen, but you probably want to listen because this is really good. So my expertise is because I've been in the coaching business for about 20 years, and when I very first started, I couldn't sell a thing. Like I was just, and I had great sales training by literally some of the top trainers in the country. But it was like the 10-page scripts. Like if they say this, then you go there. And it was literally like one of the very like stealth selling and guerrilla selling, and let's catch them in their objections, right? And so it was kind of one of those like 15 pages or 10 pages. And it was really overwhelming. And I just sucked at it. I just couldn't do it. I could read, I could follow the script, but what I was aware of is who I was being, and the beliefs I had around selling and myself were literally pushing the money away. So because it took so long to master that, I I teach it, right? And it's one of my most sacred things because I know how hard it is. Women have not been trained to say, "Hi, I am so good. You should pay me a lot of money." Not that that's what you really do, but we have not been trained in how to be powerful in a selling conversation. So I'm going to talk to you about that. Hold on one second. Okay. And I've got other videos on selling, and goodness, I must be clearing something for all the people that are stuck with the selling issues. So, all righty, let's go. I have other videos that are specifically the formula. I have a 5-step formula called the Fearless and Soulful Sales Formula. And I'll do other videos on that. But part of it is I want to address a piece when somebody says, "I'd like to work with you," and you go, "Okay, let's book a call." That's what we're talking about today. When you book a call. Okay. So the first thing you don't want to do ever, because I learned because I made the mistake, you don't want to, if somebody picks up the phone and says, hi, Therese, I want to work with you. You don't go, "Okay, that's $300 an hour. That's $5,000. That's 10,000. Like, oh, no, 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 no. Here's why. You wouldn't call, the Ford dealer and say, "I'd like a blue Ford. How much does that cost?" Because we all know there's different models, and do you want the warranty? And are you going to pay in cash, right? So you have to get out of the mindset that if somebody says, "What does it charge to work with you," especially as a coach. Now, if you're a massage therapist and it costs $150, you say it's $150. But if you are a coach or a healer or a consultant or people that you kind of sometimes customize, or you need to vet the person that's in front of you, you don't just go, "Here's a rate." Um, these are the people that you need to decide if you want to work with them, right? So I'm mainly speaking coaches, healers, sometimes therapists, sometimes, right? But for me, I'm in the coaching space, so I'm speaking to other coaches and consultants. All right. So somebody calls and says, "How do I work with you?" Or they fill out a form. So that's where we start. Okay. All the teaching starts there. So first of all, I love the idea of having forms. I love the idea of a few little hoops to jump through, because if they're not willing to do that, they're not going to be good clients. So you don't need to ask like 37 pages, but don't be afraid to literally get the information you would need. And it's, what are you looking for? Why now? What's been the cost of the challenge? What are you able to invest at this time? What have you tried? Like, don't be afraid. Because again, they're not sending a, 5,000 word document back, but don't be afraid to have 5 or 6 or 7 questions, because if they're not willing, they're showing something. Okay, so they've done this process, you have the call set up. Now they're going to call you or Zoom you. How do you start? Okay. So the first way is I want you to really understand the way you hold a selling conversation is how the work is going to be. Because some people, when I've worked with women in the coaching space, they're like, "Oh, I hate selling. I just have to get through it." And the way I frame this coaching, selling conversation, or a discovery call, if you will, is this is sacred. And my true belief is whether you hire me or not, you will have a breakthrough. It is a gift. I'd like you to spend money in the end if that's the right thing, absolutely. And if not, that's okay too. But I don't frame it like, oh, I have to do this thing. This is a horrible thing. So I frame it as I am so blessed to get to be working with you today, and you're so blessed because you're going to get something. Okay. So number one, what's the frame? Are you like, yay, a discovery call? Or are you like, crap? Okay. So number one, check your frame. Number two, check how you are showing up, right? Now, here's a little analogy for you. Imagine your kid has a brain tumor and you go to say a family doctor and they're like, oh, I don't know, this is kind of scary. I haven't done this for a while. I saw it in medical school. I don't know. Versus you go to a neurologist who says, you don't have to worry about a thing. I've done 200 of these last year. Don't worry about a thing. I've got you. We can get this done. You see the difference there? So part of it is step one in my selling formula is literally you own your value. You understand what you bring. If you're not understanding what you bring, now I get that you may be brand new and you haven't brought a lot because you've been working for 6 months. I get that that's a challenge and you have to grow into that. Sometimes you can borrow credibility from the industry, right? But usually, even people that I've worked with that have been in their fields for a while, they're still not owning their value. So, one quick way is what will they get from working with you and what will they avoid if they don't work with you? Wait, if they if they do work, all the questions. So obviously you want to go, this is what's possible, right? The very first time somebody said to me, literally my very first client, remember I said to you earlier, I couldn't sell a thing. Finally, after like 55 free sessions, I finally got a woman. She didn't even have a business idea. She had zero, like she wasn't even in business. She had been let go of a corporate job. And she's like, I don't know, I want to start something. That's where I started. I was brand new, never coached anybody. After 3 years, she was making about $300,000 and running teams. And I said, Diane, like, what did you get from working with me? And now I'm thinking the practical, right? I set up her business. I helped set her up a newsletter. I helped her do marketing. I helped her get teams and leadership and all that. I was looking at literally what we built. And she said, Therese, as a result of working with you, I'm 5 years ahead of my competitors. You helped me accelerate my success. And I was like, what? I didn't even know I did that. You can bet I raised my rates after that testimonial. And I became aware of when you work with me, there's an acceleration, like you're going to go faster. So if you don't work with me, you're going to go slower. You're going to lose money. So I have a deep understanding of if you hire me, you get this. If you don't, you're going to be stuck with that. And that's not an egoic or arrogant thing. I have 20 years of experience. I have a lot of data. So I want you to do that piece of work. Okay. What do they get if they work with me? And what will happen if they don't? Write it down, concretize it, have little notes in front of you. So you're like, that's right. I can do it. I'm a badass. That's right. Okay. So now you show up, they're in front of you. Here's how you start the selling conversation. All right. Because what happens is not everybody understands how to be a client or a potential client when they're being sold to. They don't know what to do and they're anxious. So they just jump in. And then you're like, so here's the first thing I do. I go, thank you. I'm just going to call her Amy. Thank you so much, Amy. I'm really glad you're here. What made you decide to have this conversation now? So you wanted, maybe no. And then I might do a little rapport thing. Maybe I would do that first. Oh, so Amy, I'm in Arizona. Where are you from? Oh, I've always wanted to go there. What's the weather like? Just rapport, just settling down. Because I'm basically, there's a container, and I, as a person having this discovery session, I need to make the safe space. I need to have this container where my prospective client's going to be like, oh, okay, I can, okay, that's good. All right. Yeah, it's cool. I can talk to her. I don't want it to be like, hi, what are we working on? Right now, if that's more your vibe, you can do that. I found you want people's nervous systems settled. You don't want them jacked up because they're not going to be able to make decisions and they're not going to give you all the answers you need, right? So start with that. And then I say, so just so we're understanding, you're here to have a discussion with me about potentially working together, right? Now that seems like duh, but actually, and the reason I did this is because somebody, I'm like, so you're here because you maybe want to hire me, and they're like, no, I want you to invite me on your podcast. I'm like, what? They filled out the form, wrong form, but I'm like, oh, well, okay, well, good to know. So you just want to clarify this, we're having this conversation so with the goal of potentially seeing if we can work together. Is that right? Yes. Okay. This is the most important. And this one I just kind of stumbled upon. It's like, oh my, oh my, this is interesting. So I said, here's the thing. Let's just get this out of the way at the beginning. I want us to make an agreement. If either of us decides this is not the right fit, can we just say that? And then I say this because I'm kind of playful, as you can tell, and I tell a lot of stories, but it works. So I say, because when I was dating, there was nothing worse than at the end of the date, that weird, like, okay, am I supposed to call him? Is he calling me? Or is like, and then you wait and you wait and you don't know. I said, I don't do that in my dating life and I don't do that in my business. Right. And if you tell them that story, they're like, oh, of course, because we've all had that experience. So I just say, can I just please ask you a favor? This is what I want to stand for is if either of us agrees that this is not the right fit, then we can easily say no. Let's just get that over with, okay? And what was so funny is when I did that, that I didn't hear that anywhere. There was nobody that modeled that for me. I just got told that. I said it, and the person in front of me was like, "Oh my God, thank you so much." And that just puts me at ease. Boom, that's what you want. Okay. So that's just how to start the selling call. And I'll do another video about the 5-step formula. But if you do that and you take a stand for them and you are powerful, you're going to have somebody that's like putty in your hands if it's the right fit, right? Because what I want is this conversation is an experience of what it's like to work with me. So what have I determined that I'm in charge, right? I've determined that I want them to feel comfortable. I've determined safety. I've hopefully shown some mastery, right? The other thing that I want you to say, because again, as women, we are trained to be nice girls. And so here's what I say, and let me just explain how this is going to go. We're going to talk about 30 or 40 minutes. I'm going to ask you questions because there's certain things I'm looking for. I want to see what your desires are. I want to see where things are not, breaking down a little bit, where you're getting stuck. So I have an idea of what I need to get, the information I need so as to guide you best. And that means that there might be times that I interrupt you because, again, I want to stay focused on this information so we can make the best decision. And I say, it's not that my mama didn't raise me well, but I might have to interrupt you. Are you okay with that? Now, why did I do that? Because so many people, they're a little anxious and they're chatting. So it's like, well, I came from Missouri, and my cousin's brother's uncle used to fish. And that one day I was really mad at her, just like, and I literally, before I would do this, they would just be going down rabbit holes and stories and things and nice girls, we don't interrupt. Nice girls never interrupt. So I would just sit there for like 10 minutes, like waiting for them to stop. And then I'm like, duh, who's in charge? Take charge. And so when I put that at the beginning and playfully, then if they're like, I'll get, okay, hold on, Amy, I just need to stop you here. Can we just get back to that where you were talking about, the struggle with what your vision is? Do you mind? Because that was a really important piece. So when I do it, it's in service of supporting them. It's not disrespectful. It's not being like, oh, Jesus, she's not listening. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. And most people are like, oh, I'm sorry. Of course. If you do that in a respectful way, you're in control. Because seriously, people in these, like, I was telling my clients, people need to be trained how to be a client. They don't know. I mean, a lot of us have been really coached and this is old hat. But for somebody new that has never had a selling conversation, um, I got a new client recently and she a lot. She's kind of ADD. And it was like 37 different stories. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Let's just breathe. What's the most important thing to focus on now? How about we talk about this? And so what I'm telling you here is you cannot be afraid to take charge, because if you don't take charge, what's the message? The message is, wow, she can't handle all of me. The message is, because they go, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so messy. It's like, no, totally fine, I get it. And let's just go back here. So you just want to sweep it up and go where you got to go. And so there's kind of an art form to that. So I want you to look at, who would I have to be in order to, like, you're in my room, you're in the house, come on in. I'm gonna be in charge. And we're gonna get to the end safely, right? We're gonna get here. We'll have that conversation about if we're gonna work together. But the way we're gonna have this, I'm gonna guide it. And I'm gonna put some structures in that are gonna be really yummy and really supportive. Okay. Good stuff, isn't it? And there's more. I'll do another video on the selling stuff. But these little pieces, again, it's the mindset, it's the energy, it's the how you own your value, what you think of the selling conversation container. This can make all the difference in the world. It really can. And I know the bunches of coaches have, here's my selling course and here's my formula. That's all cool. And sometimes we need those. But how you show up, how you hold it, the way you envision this container of this call, that makes all the difference in the world. And I hope you listen and I hope you've loved it. And I'll be in touch with more. Peace and blessings. Bye now.